Elon Musk has defeated an anti-free speech campaign from Australia's government. They were hell-bent on hiding a terror attack video which was taken from a live stream, which happened to show a young man stabbing Christian Archbishop Emmanuel at the Good Shepherd Church in Sydney, Australia. The attack was motivated by religious hatred, and the Australian government didn't want the public to see or know about it, and so they demanded its censorship. Take a look at this insanity.
Police were called to a church in Wakeley in southwest Sydney in relation to reports that a male was stabbing the clergy inside that building. Police responded and arrested a young person, and he was restrained inside that building. Subsequently, as it has been mentioned, at 1:35 a.m. this morning, after consideration of all the material, I declared that it was a terrorist incident.
He was stabbing, and I saw him, I ran and grabbed him from behind and just pushed him down. Look, all that's all is blood.
Wow.
He kept saying, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar.
He was saying that?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar.
Now, this attack, my friends, occurred on April 15th of this year and was classified by authorities as a terrorist attack, as you saw. The 16-year-old suspect has now been charged with terrorism-related offenses, obviously, in connection to the stabbing of the bishop and priest. Now, where things got really strange here, though, was not only did the Australian government ban the video from within their own country, and by the way, it still remains geo-banned from the citizens of Australia from being able to view it, but they also attempted to ban the video from being shared outside their country. They demanded that social media platforms scrub the video from being seen outside their nation. And they mostly got their way, and they would have gotten away with this, except a lone billionaire stood in their way. Enter Elon Musk. The Australian e-safety commissioner, Julie Inman-Grant, issued a global takedown notice for the video. Elon Musk only partially complied, though, by geo-blocking the content in Australia. But that wasn't enough for the Australian overlords. The legal battle then reached a critical point when the Australian federal court issued a temporary injunction demanding that Twitter X block the videos globally. This decision was then challenged by Elon Musk, who argued that such a mandate was an Orwellian overreach of Australian law and threatened the very principles of free speech on a global scale, which of course it did. Now, throughout the battle, Elon Musk has maintained that the demands of the Australian e-safety commissioner exceeded the jurisdiction of Australian law, arguing that no single nation should dictate the content accessible to the global internet community, which of course to me seems like a no-duh. Anyway, he has positioned Twitter X as a bastion of free speech, resisting pressures to conform to national regulations that he views as restrictive, not to mention dangerous. Now, this, of course, infuriated the censorship Nazis within the Australian government, led by Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, who criticized Musk for his reluctance to comply with their local laws that he claimed was designed to prevent the spread of violent content. Albanese has now labeled Musk as an arrogant billionaire, castigating Musk as one who prioritizes his interpretation of free speech over public safety and decency. And yet, today on May 13th, the federal court presided over by Justice Geoffrey Kennett has now declined to extend the temporary injunction against Twitter X. This decision effectively has allowed the continued global dissemination of the stabbing video, marking a significant victory for Elon Musk and his platform in the fight against massive governmental overreach and censorship. Now, the reality here is this. The excuse that governments like Australia are using for blocking this spread of this content is nothing more than a ruse to protect themselves. They know that the spreading of this information will further shine a light on their horrible decision-making. It would allow the public, especially in their own countries, to see ever more clearly just how bad things are truly getting, and allowing the citizens of the country to understand that the danger that they are really in. You see, the public learning about these instances would put the government leaders in danger of losing their power and or paying a political price for their actions. And that, above all else, to these people is intolerable. I don't believe they really care how many people get hurt by their terrible decisions. As long as they maintain their power, well, the end will justify the means. Everything will be fine. Now, to get a better flavor of how this news has been received, let's take a post from Forbes, which this morning discussed this latest turn of events. Elon Musk, they write, scored a victory against the Australian government on Monday after a court refused a request to extend an order forcing X to hide videos of a violent church stabbing. The latest step in a bitter feud pitting the free speech crusading billionaire against lawmakers branding him as arrogant and lacking social responsibility. Australia's federal court has sided with Musk's social media platform over the country's digital regulator by refusing to extend a temporary court order for it to hide videos of a Sydney church stabbing in April, which was caught on a live stream and declared a terrorist attack by the government. The court previously granted an injunction blocking more than 60 posts showing footage of the attack on X, which eSafety Commissioner Julie Inman Grant sought after X decided to only hide the videos in Australia instead of removing them worldwide. This order was due to expire on Monday, and Justice Geoffrey Kennett declined Inman Grant's request to extend it, according to news reports by the brief hearing. Now, Kennett did not reveal the reasons for his decisions publicly, and the reasons for the judgment are expected to be released later on Monday. The matter has been listed for a court hearing on Wednesday, according to Reuters, and a final hearing is expected in mid-June. While many social media platforms swiftly complied with Australian officials' requests to remove the videos of the attack on Bishop Marie Emmanuel while delivering a sermon, Musk and X pushed back. While acknowledging Australia's right to police content and enforce laws within its borders, the company and Musk bristled at the regulator's request to take down content worldwide, which it claimed was necessary to effectively stop Australians from seeing it. You know, thank God for Elon Musk here. All these major social media platforms, with the exception of Twitter X, have for the past 4 years now colluded with their governments to essentially bring censorship to the masses. It is nothing short of corporate fascism that we've been under. This Orwellian censorship is a danger to all citizens in the so-called free world. Governments from all Western democracies have been inexorably moving towards totalitarianism, and the social media giants have been complicit in this massive power grab. On this channel, for example, previously known as Trial Site News, we tracked during the pandemic the horrifying steps that the Australian government took to consolidate power over its citizens, all in the name of public safety. The West is in severe danger, my friends, and the hour is quite late. And honestly, I believe that only a swift pendulum swing in the other direction will save these once free peoples from falling under dictatorships created by their very own governments. Now, Forbes goes on to write that the company, Twitter, vowed to legally challenge any orders to take down content beyond Australia's borders and branded such a request as an overreach, a threat to free speech, and assault on the very principles of a free and open internet. Now, of course, Australia didn't like this, and Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese called Musk an arrogant billionaire with a lack of any sense of social responsibility for his company in response to the incident. Well, I would argue that Elon Musk, of all others within the tech industry, seems to know precisely what his social responsibility is. It is keeping the propaganda ministers from the government from controlling the minds of their citizens through lies and mistruths, or outright hiding information from the public. This is precisely how the West has reached such a desperate point in time in its existence. This is how you get situations like in our previous episode where Marie-Therese Kaiser, a politician for the AfD party, was convicted of inciting hatred, all because you pointed out the deeply concerning gang rape statistics of the Afghans entering their country. We get to this point precisely because our governments have obscured the danger of mass migration from populations that do not share Western values. If they're not assimilating to your culture and they're balkanizing, you're opening the door to serious problems. And these governments have known this for a while, but they're doing their best to hide this information from their own citizens. And because of this, the West may very well crumble under the weight of its own hubris, the hubris of their leaders. We are watching what history will no doubt be shaking their heads about in disbelief over the stupid decisions that the West has taken in the past couple of decades. So let's talk about the implications and public reaction over this decision so far. As of time of filming of this episode, the court's decision not to extend the injunction has been met with mixed reactions. The supporters of free speech, who advocate for the right to access information and resist censorship, have hailed this victory. while naturally critics are arguing that the decision could lead to the unchecked spread of violent content, potentially causing harm and inciting further violence. Now, according to a post by the AP, they write that Elon Musk posted, "Not trying to win anything, I just don't think we should be suppressing Australians' rights to free speech." And the AP goes on to write that X is also taking a separate court action against e-safety commissioner Julie Inman Grant, a former Twitter employee. Oh, geez, this crazy person used to work for Twitter, all right? That challenges the validity of her notice requiring the platform to remove a video of the April 15th attack in an Assyrian Orthodox church. The judge is expected to consider setting a hearing date Wednesday. But not to take this lying down, the AP writes, Assistant Treasurer Stephen Jones said that the government might consider changing Australian law after reading Kennett's decisions. After reading Kennett's reasons for removing his order that required X to hide the video from users. He said, there's a fundamental principle at stake, and that is if you're a company or anybody operating in Australia, then you've got to abide by Australian laws. He also said that the government supported Inman Grant's stance on the video, saying, she made the right decision in our view to ensure that the dangerous, violent, harmful material wasn't being propagated online and encouraging and inciting that sort of behavior here in Australia. Which again is utter nonsense. The violent, extremist people propagating these crimes are just going to keep on doing it regardless of whether Australia censors the information or not. Instead, what they're really trying to do here is stop people from seeing these innocent folks being stabbed and attacked. They don't want the public at large to know these things. Because they understand that this would turn into a massive public backlash. And it would put a giant spotlight on Australia's government stupidity in allowing this to get to this point in the first place. That, my friends, appears to be the real reason behind all of these actions by the Australian government. They are simply protecting themselves from the masses, from their own citizens. Pure and simple.